Greetings to all. Today we are going to study chapter 6, especially on transport in human beings. Content given in this clip may be helpful for you to answer questions in the examination. I hope you will read your textbook and try to score as much as you can. Well, when you read and go through this clip, you will be increasing your knowledge base on blood. You know blood is red in color. No one need to teach you that. But blood has components, it has functions, and it carries many materials. Blood is blood is red in color. You will see why it is so. Heart has 4 chambers, and we have double circulation. How many times blood is circulated in your own body? Try to understand that. And there are 600 million air sacs in your lungs. You should know why it is so. Why capillaries reach every tiny cell in our body. This will increase your knowledge base on human blood. The video clip what you see shows you a diagram showing the heart and blood vessels, how they form a network in the human body. This is only just to know how complex the system of circulatory system in our body is. Like any other tissue, like muscular tissue, neural tissue, blood is also a tissue called vascular tissue. Blood has components. They may call it structure of the blood. It contains two important things. One is plasma, a liquid material, and this second one is blood corpuscles, solid particles. What they are, how they function will be very important for you to remember for your examination and for your own knowledge. We shall study that in the future slides. The two diagrams what you see will teach you about composition of blood. Now, composition of blood. In this particular figure, you find blood is red in color, and the second tube indicates a portion is yellow in color called plasma, and another portion red will be blood cells. Plasma contains water, it contains proteins, it contains ions and other materials. Blood cells will be three types. Red blood cells, they are red in color. White blood cells are called WBCs, and platelets. In this diagram, the next one, you find how the blood cells, that is solid particles, are suspended in the yellow fluid called plasma that will be inside the blood vessel. Again, I have shown the components of blood here. You see the test tube showing two parts. Upper part little reddish in color, that is plasma, and the lower one dark red is red blood cells. If you look at plasma, you have given a flow diagram. Plasma contains water, it contains proteins, it contains nutrients, it has waste materials, it has gases. Now all these things may be called as components of plasma. In the other part, you find components, especially red blood cells are called RBCs. It's red in color because of what's called hemoglobin, very important for our healthy living. It has got white blood cells. They're amoeboid in shape. They fight against the diseases, and they got platelets of various types and sizes. They also help in clotting the blood. You study these things in higher classes in much more detail than what we have said right now. In this PPT, you have more information. This will be helpful for you for your examination. Oxygen-rich blood will be transported from lungs to all the cells. Deoxygenated, that is without oxygen gas containing carbon dioxide, will travel from all the cells into the lungs. Digested food materials from the intestine will be transported via plasma to all the cells. Hormones produced in different parts of the body, including brain and other parts, also will be transported from its origin to all the organs of the body. Nitrogenous waste materials produced in the cells due to life processes, which are waste, will have to be thrown out of the body, and that will be transported again by the blood into different parts of the body to throw them out. For all these important transporting system or transporting materials from to the cells and into the cells, from cells to outside, all this is what is called transport, and that is taken care by heart, blood vessels, and other liquid called lymph that will be studied. All this will be coordinated by nervous system and muscular system. We tried to recapitulate about the blood. Blood is called the fluid of life because it supplies all the vital molecules required for life processes. Red colored blood is thick in color. It's also called vascular fluid, and it contains solid particles called blood cells. RBCs are erythrocytes, WBCs are leukocytes, platelets are all floating in the plasma. Plasma transports water, ions, enzymes, food particles, nitrogenous waste materials, hormones, all in the dissolved form, in the form of molecules. And all these materials are essential for our life, and blood carries all these things to different parts of the cells and back waste materials to throw outside. Therefore, blood is called the fluid of life. You must remember this, that blood is very important for our health. You must maintain a very good, healthy blood system in your body. You see 3 diagrams on this PPT. The central one is the heart in its full form. Heart is to the size of your left fist, and that contains 4 chambers. The diagram to your left side shows you 4 chambers, and these chambers are very important, and the heart works like a pump because of the muscular system. For that, nervous system gives signals. Right from the day 1, the heart starts pumping till we die. It may pump millions and millions and millions of times throughout our life. And the next one is a diagram showing how the blood is circulated from heart to the lungs, from lungs to the heart, from again heart to all parts, from all parts back to heart. And that kind of circulation is very important. That's called double circulation. We shall study that in the next PPT. In this diagram, I have shown 4 chambers of the heart. To your right side have the left chambers. Upper one is called the auricle, left auricle. Lower one is called the left ventricle. In the opposite side you have the right auricle and the right ventricle. They are the 4 chambers. Auricle and ventricle are separated by means of valves. There are 2 sets of valves, one in the left side, one in the right side. Blood vessels start both from auricle and from ventricle. Similarly, from right auricle and right ventricle, blood vessels will start. We shall study that maybe in the next higher class, most details about these things. You have 2 kinds of circulations. One in the lower animals, especially animals like fish. They have only one cycle. That is, blood goes from gills to all the parts and comes back. Fishes have a very simple heart and they pump only once and they pass directly from gills to the rest of the body. Thus, blood goes only once through the heart and comes back to the heart again. Whereas in higher animals like frogs, you have 3-chambered heart, and other animals like birds and mammals have 4-chambered heart. In these animals, blood goes through the heart 2 times, and that is called double circulation. You may be able to answer a question on double circulation for your examination. We shall try to know what is double circulation in human beings. I have given a blank slide here. This is to draw a diagram by which you will be able to practice the longitudinal section of the heart and also a double circulation. Now I will try to see whether I can draw the diagram here. If not, you try to practice the diagram and try to be ready for the examination on blood circulation. In this PPT, information given is about separation of the heart into left and the right chambers. You know why heart is having 4 chambers, and left and the right, the blood will never mix. Right side blood is different from the left side blood. You may ask me why it is so. Such a separation allows highly efficient system wherein oxygenated blood goes to one part and the other part will contain the deoxygenated blood. The blood will never mix from the left and the right side. And sometimes there may be problems in the heart. Then there will be a small leakage, and that makes the blood admixture. Such people will not be healthy. For a healthy living, there must be separation of the heart into left and the right, and the blood should never mix. That is a very important thing. In animals that do not use high energy for their activities, the body temperature may be to the equivalent to the temperature of the environment. Such animals like amphibians or many reptiles which have 3-chambered heart, and they tolerate some mixing of the blood, and therefore sometimes they are called cold-blooded animals. And whereas in case of mammals, especially in man, where high efficiency of work takes place, high energy requirement is required, their blood will not mix, and therefore heart is divided into left and the right chambers. We shall study something about the blood vessels. There are three types of blood vessels which I told you. Arteries, they take blood away from the heart. Veins or blood vessels, they bring blood to the heart. Arteries have thick walls because they will be working under high pressure due to heart's pumping. Veins have little thin, but they have valves to stop the backflow or regurgitation of the blood. Now, these blood vessels branch into very small blood vessels called capillaries. And these capillaries are the smallest blood vessels which get into very, very thin, and they may come to the size of one cell thick and small. They become so small that even one RBC can get into the capillary. That is the fine network produced by the nature which human beings cannot do it, and that is the complexity of the vascular system. Now blood vessels are shown here. To your right, to one side you have the red colored artery. Arteries, you know, have little thicker blood walls, and they normally distribute the blood to all the parts, and they will divide into capillaries, very, very small capillaries. If you look at the other one that is blue in color, that is the vein. Vein has slightly thinner valve and it has valves inside, and you know they will collect the blood from all the parts. Even they also have capillaries. So capillaries network is a place where blood vessels meet and they exchange. Artery capillaries coming from the arteries will hand over the blood to the capillaries coming from the veins. So there is a wonderful coordination in transporting blood system. Capillaries will collect and distribute blood to various parts. If you become a doctor, you will study these things in much more detailed way. For examination purpose, if you try to remember, capillaries are very small, thin blood vessels helping in collecting and distributing blood to from all the parts. That's enough. Well, this is a PPT showing you your blood contains plasma, red blood cells or erythrocytes, white blood cells which fight with the disease, and the platelets. And especially in the COVID time, you should be able to know that your body should develop good resistance. For that, you have to maintain a very healthy blood system. Please remember that the blood is the one that fights the infection and makes you healthy and healthy living. Try to remember and try to find out how you can increase the healthy nature of your blood by reading and taking very good food and nutritious food. This piece of information you should remember because blood contains platelets. When there is an injury, blood leaks from the body. To stop the bleeding, platelets will come out and be in touch with the air, and they form fibrinogen, and the blood clotting takes place. Similarly, when there is a leakage in the blood inside the body, also platelets help in plugging that leak. If the leak is not stopped, then people may bleed to death. Therefore, remember, platelets are very important for our for our injuries and then stopping the blood from leaking inside our body. Another type of fluid is present in our blood system, but via capillaries, that is through the small pores in the capillaries, plasma may leak out and they get into spaces in between the tissues called interstitial spaces, and that form a liquid called lymph. It is almost similar to plasma of the blood. It is colorless. It contains less proteins. Lymph drains into the capillaries called lymphatic capillaries, and they go into intercellular spaces which join to form large lymph vessels and finally open into larger veins. Lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid from extracellular space back into the blood. Therefore, lymph is also very important, but lymph will not help in carrying RBCs, WBCs and platelets. Lymph only carries something connected to fat. After reading this particular chapter for your examination, they may ask you to list the components of the transport system in your human body. For that, your focus should be on the components like heart, blood vessels, capillaries, then components of the blood like plasma, what plasma contains, what RBC contains, what WBC contains, what platelets contains, that you should remember. Why we have four-chambered heart? That you try to understand and try to answer that question. What is double circulation? This I have not answered. Double circulation is nothing but two separate circulations at one pumping of the heart. When heart pumps, blood goes to two different areas. One goes from the heart to the lungs, and again it comes back to the heart. That is called pulmonary circulation. At the same time, one blood vessel takes the blood to all the parts of the body and brings the blood back into the heart. That is called the systemic circulation. And that two types of circulation happens in one pumping of the heart. That is, one cycle will have two circulations, and that is called a double circulation. Read your book for better understanding and try to answer that question. How many times blood is circulated in a minute? Please Google it and try to find out the answer. It is a fascinating thing to know how many million times heart pumps in our own body. If you want study more in Google, Google contains all the correct information about the blood vascular system which your book and teachers may not give you. I would like to acknowledge my thanks on behalf of you. I have taken some images from the Creative Commons, Bing and Diksha. They have given you useful images and useful information. This may help you to understand and increase your knowledge base. And your knowledge base is in the brain. The more you read, the more you understand, your base increases, and you will be in a position to answer any question in the examination and remember those things for your life. Thank you. Good luck.